On today's episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast, we're diving into the key trends that's going to shape the real estate market for 2025. If you're a buyer, seller, investor, realtor, you got to watch this show. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to another episode of the Elite Realty Group Podcast, where you are going to get the most up-to-date, relevant real estate information you'll find anywhere on the planet. You will get it right here. This is the Elite Realty Group Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Elkins, with my co-host, Dave Elkins, and we're ready to dive into some trends. There's trends happen every single year in real estate.
All the time.
It literally is kind of wild how different things happen, what you'd say. And it literally does shape the entire real estate market.
Yeah.
It shapes everything that, happens and goes along with real estate and all that. We're going to dive into the 2025 ones today and give these people what to watch for. Because just like last year, we had this big settlement in the middle of the year.
Right.
We had interest rates, we had pricing, we had all that. These trends that we're talking about right now are what I'm going to call spin-offs from what happened last year. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's dive into those. We're glad that you guys, wherever you are listening or watching, whatever platform you're on, we're glad you took time to come and hang out with us. Our goal today is to allow you to know what these trends are, why they're important, and specifically even more how they're going to shape what happens in the real estate market. Now, we've just came off of our prediction of, is this the year that it's going to crash?
Right.
I think we answered that question.
Yeah.
So all y'all have heard all of that. If you've not, go listen or watch that podcast. But we're not predicting no crash this year.
Right.
But these trends are going to shape what happens. And they're different in different parts of the country. I think these will play even more of a role depending on where you are demographically within these great United States of America.
This is where I always make our disclaimer. We are in East Tennessee.
Yes.
Okay, so we are, a lot of the stuff we talk about is kind of going to be based upon where we're at. But again, you know your market, you know your area, and you know which one of these things might be more pertaining to you.
It happens on every single podcast that we do. And usually a lot of times we kind of know before we say it. We're getting ready to get talked back to on this one. It happened last week.
Right.
And it's one of those things, again, it's hard for us to say exactly what's going to go on in your marketplace. But in general, these things are happening across the country.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. We will be specific to Tennessee, but they're typically and generally happening across the country. We're going to dive into 4 trends today, again, that are going to shape the 2025 real estate market. Let's jump right in with the first one. And this one is one I think we could talk about for a while. But here is a trend that will happen in 2025. There's going to be an increased demand for smaller homes.
Right.
Okay. That is a kick against what normally happens. Everybody's wanting to move up.
Yeah.
Give me the big house.
Right.
Give me the bigger place. Let's go and do all these things. But a trend that will be in 2025 is there's going to be an increased demand for smaller homes. Now, let's talk in and dive why that's going to be a trend. There's going to be 2 things that I'm going to throw out there, and let's discuss.
Okay.
The first one, the trend for the smaller home is going to come and spin straight off of what's happening in pricing with real estate.
There you go.
It's going up.
Yep.
Naturally, the smaller the home, the less the price.
Right.
There are micros inside of that could be exceptions to that rule.
Right.
But we're 99% right on that. So pricing is going to play. Along with the pricing, the majority of the people are going to go get a mortgage on this property. So the interest rates are going to play.
Interest rates are still a little high.
As to why smaller homes are going to be an increased demand in that. Talk to me about what are your thoughts about these smaller homes?
Just what you said. Like you said, price, obviously, smaller home, smaller price, interest rates high, smaller home. But again, you do have people that are looking because of cost of living. Okay. I
Sure.
think we addressed this a little bit last week, maybe, but because cost of living overall is still high, you can sell that house that maybe you don't need anymore, that 2,500 square foot house,
Sure.
and downsize to a 1,500 square foot. Use that equity to pay off some debt, help with just having savings in the bank, move to a smaller house, and that's automatically going to help you because
Absolutely.
you don't need that much space anymore. So now you're putting money in the bank account, you're paying off debt, cars, credit cards, all this other stuff. And so that smaller house is definitely more appealing now.
Absolutely. And so you start combining that, putting all that together, there's a lot of money to be saved there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said, just monthly insurance, taxes, you spend all of that into that. And you've got people who they don't need the bigger homes no more. Kids moved out, went to college, whatever. Life changes have happened. And those bigger homes are just not needed for them anymore.
Right.
But you literally can throw that segment of people into it, but you also throw into the segment of just everybody in the marketplace because the affordability issues. You're just lying if you don't say that. That might have been a strong word, but it's the truth. Like it's really an affordability issue, and a lot of people, I think, see the benefits of being a homeowner, versus renting. That's so, again, person specific. Renting might be right for you,
Right.
but the majority of people don't agree with that thought, and so they don't subscribe to that. They think being a homeowner and all the benefits that come with it. But again, being able to afford a home, we're seeing people give up size for being able to just afford for it to fit in their budget. Right. Every single
Especially
month.
Like you're saying, for those people that are coming from the renting side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, let's just be honest. We all want the big mansion, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's what everybody kind of desires. But the people who are coming from renting, they are happy that they are going from renting to owning the home. So they're going to be more likely to settle for this is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Because more than likely, if you're in a duplex or whatever, more than likely that house that you're buying, even though it's a smaller in the grand scheme of things home, it's still probably bigger than your apartment that you had.
Exactly.
So, but again, going back, big houses they turn into big utility bills. Absolutely. And more maintenance and all this other stuff. So again, that smaller home, especially again, moving from renting, that is appealing to people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, we're talking today about key trends that are going to shape the 2025 real estate market. Again, hopefully this information is good for you. And that first one is we're seeing the increased demand for a smaller home. We have had several people in our area right here, local, if you want to go local area, that are saying, hey, when are these builders going to wise up and build some smaller homes? We want new.
Build the affordability
home. Build that affordable home. So again, it's a trend that you will see continue to happen. And the affordability of all of that is the main issue. That's what I got for the first one. Throw one out. Let's talk about it.
Well, let's talk about like suburban, rural areas. Those areas are going to continue to grow. So again, speaking to us specifically where we're at, we are seeing an influx, have been seeing influx of people moving from these larger cities to our area just because we have a lot of benefits of being here. Our cost of living is usually cheaper than where they're coming from. Taxes, all that stuff like that is relatively lower than where they're coming from. Now, let's touch, because when we say this, we always get people, especially from our area, that comes and comments about nobody here can afford the houses. Okay. Mm-hmm. We know that the home prices here in our area have risen in the past 5 years tremendously.
A lot.
Okay. So we are going to agree that home prices in our area are higher than they've ever been. However, when you look at the grand scheme of things across the country, we are a very affordable place to live.
Sure.
So I love it when people get upset that how home prices is, but the outsiders are tickled to death when they move in and get that. But you're going to see that just because people are looking to get away from these bigger cities,
Sure.
all these taxes, all that stuff. That's going to just automatically make people start looking more at suburban rural areas, getting away from the hustle and bustle
Sure.
and everything else. They're going to be looking at areas like ours here in East Tennessee, as well as maybe where you live.
You know, we went through a time, and it was COVID. I mean, it happened in that era, if
Right.
you would have it, that time frame, that people that was a flip. Everybody wanted to be close to everything.
Right.
Like, I want to be close to the shopping.
Mhm.
I want to be in town. I don't want to have to drive. I want to walk. I want to do all these things. And there was this big mad rush of everybody wanting to go and be close,
Mhm.
you know. And so that moment of time happened. In our area, we had a whole lot of new construction homes start coming close into town. You know what I mean?
Right.
Get me as close, public transportation, all those things.
Mhm.
We've seen again over the last couple years, last year being the biggest year of that yet, is now you're seeing the influx of people wanting to go back out of these areas
Yeah.
and go more, like you said, urban, suburban areas, rural areas, those kind of things. And they're looking for, now I want some space.
Yes.
Like they're giving up the
Mhm.
the you know, everything being right at your fingertips
Right.
for the sake of, I want some privacy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of being with everybody now.
Right.
Like,
Well, I mean, again, I go back to our area specifically, but I mean, we know the city has become so much more congested.
sure, growth
in the last
Growth.
5 years. Yeah, I mean, like you said, growth. So people are now like, okay, I'm tired of dealing with that.
Right.
So I'm looking out, like I'm on
Yes.
the outskirts. I want to go. You know, you hear the off grid people.
Mhm.
That's appealing to people.
Absolutely. And that again is just, you know, giving up what you would say, everything right around you, right at your fingertips, the ability to walk to a coffee shop or a donut shop or whatever that it is that you were looking for being there, to go out and say, hey, I want to get in the country.
Yeah.
I'm okay that I'm not going to be able to go out in the country and probably get the same home, because I'm going to give up the size, or I'm going to give up the updated home. But I'm okay with that because I want this space.
Yeah.
I want this land. I don't want regulated to death. I want all these things.
Yeah, and another thing, we're going to go back to money here for a minute, is you don't have city, county taxes.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot better when you just have to go pay those county taxes
Sure.
and not paying twice as much sometimes for city and county.
Sign me up all day. If it's saving money,
Yeah.
sign me up.
Yeah.
Remember, we're talking today about some trends that are going to shape the 2025 real estate market. Again, we are in East Tennessee. We're speaking a lot of what we know about East Tennessee, but you can also see these trends literally happening across our country.
Right.
You know, again, people are affordability issues are not just an East Tennessee thing.
No.
Rural, going to the suburban, that's not just an East Tennessee thing. That's stuff that you're seeing happening in a lot of markets across our country.
Yep.
That shapes what's going to happen in these micros inside of these markets, that you're going to look at it and say, hey, man, that price range, that area is blowing up. This could be one of the reasons. It's
Yeah.
just they're on a trend.
Right.
And they're in that trend, and they got everything that everybody in that trend wants, thus making that the desired area
Right.
for people to go. Here's number 3, okay? Here's number 3 that I think of these trends that will continue to shape. And this one has to do with buyers, sellers, investors, real estate agents, all of this stuff. Now, we've kind of been in this game for many years, okay? This space. And it continues to evolve in just ways that we would have never even imagined, thought that things would go down. But it literally is the technology side of real estate, okay?
Yeah.
The technology side of real estate. And this goes back to everything in life is moving to this way, and you continue to see real estate move this way.
Mhm.
And the technology parts of that are videos and Zooms and AI and all of the marketing that's happening with these properties, moving from the traditional media side of everything to where people are literally growing comfortable buying houses online. It's a shift that you would probably never thought you would see.
Right.
That's a trend that I don't know that I would have sat down 5 years ago and predicted and said, be prepared for this.
Right.
But it's a real trend that's happening across the country, that people are using technology more and more and more to buy real estate, to invest in real estate, to beat out other people in real estate than they ever have.
Well, again, like you said earlier, probably kick-started heavily by COVID.
Sure.
Not that there was some happening before, pre-COVID, but COVID really took videos, all that kind of marketing to another level.
Sure.
Now, I personally think out of those topics that you just said is one that there's one in there that who knows how this will go and who knows how this will end up playing out. But the growth and the rate of which AI is taking over.
I know.
It's going to be interesting to see because AI is going to play a big part. How that all goes, who knows, but it is going to play a part in how real estate is bought, sold, invested, all those things viewed. It's going to play a major role. So I think 25, just because of the way things are going, you are going to see AI at some point really ramp its way up to the real estate industry.
There's no doubt about it, because it's kind of like what you said. It's not just real estate that you see these things taking over. I don't know what to call it other than these things. I mean AI, but I'm saying the AI space is
growing rapidly.
It's unbelievable. Like it's unbelievable what is literally happening inside of that space, and again, in every area of our lives. It has to at this point. Now, us sitting here, not being AI creators and AI space people, you look at it and you say, how does that come? What does that look like? What shape does it take? How does it all evolve? I have no idea.
Yeah, and funny moment here, but good plug for us maybe is that every time we post videos, they're like, are you all speaking English? Because they can't understand us. So maybe we will be able to use AI so that you guys that are from wherever that can't understand us, we might be able to use AI to help portray our voice.
Help you understand us. Don't understand. That's okay. That's what you call East Tennessee slang.
Right.
We speak with that language.
They understand us here.
It's not always proper, but we speak with that language. But
we do what we can.
You go back to the evolution of all that. We use that in our business. This podcast that we're filming right now.
Yeah.
We will take this podcast, we will upload it to AI. AI will split it. AI will narrate it. AI will put captions on it. That'll be used in multiple ways for us for marketing for our company.
Right.
We're now taking our listings. We're going and getting video tours of our listings. We're taking it. We're putting it with AI. AI is now slicing and dicing, putting music with that, doing everything that needs to be done. That's what I'm saying. It is already there in that space.
Right.
But you will see it continue to come into the buying and selling process, even more of that.
Because it's still relatively new as far as the overall. AI has been around for a while, but the rate at which it's developing right now, it's going to be very interesting to see how it really evolves with this real estate market.
Well, let me throw some things out there. 2 things that I want to put out just to speak a little bit more about this. And this again is why I think this will be one of those trends that you see happen. This is going to affect real estate agents. So if you're a real estate agent out there, you're not using AI to help you do some of the things that I just told you about.
Right.
You need to use that. But let's pop over and let's park just for a minute at this place. Because one of the things that happen often, we've done shows on this, but we realize that not every person who wants to market their property is going to choose to hire a real estate agent.
Right.
They're going to do it themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. as this space evolves and as all those technologies and the marketing tools that AI gives the affordability issues to a realtor, if you're out there this year thinking of, hey, I'm going to sell my house, those are things though that you need to be aware of also, because as us as agents, we know that's a trend that is an uptick trend that we better get on the cutting edge of. We better get out in front of.
Mm-hmm.
But you as a person, again, maybe trying to do this by yourself, you don't know the space as well.
Right.
It will put you at a big disadvantage, okay? We say it all the time on here. It's not always right for everybody to hire a realtor. It's right most of the time,
mm-hmm.
but it's not right for everybody. But as that space evolves, it's going to really limit what a lot of people and it's not because you can't use it. It's just because you don't even know it exists.
Right.
And what someone that has that technology on their side versus someone who knows absolutely nothing about it, they will run off and leave you in the marketing space of what we know this moment right now about AI. That's what I'm saying. That's trends that are up and coming that people better be aware of. It will shape the real estate market. A lot of times people don't really see that. But that's a real trend that's going to be there. That's a real trend that's going to be there. Give us the last one. Let's talk about it.
So again, it's kind of money related again, but you are going to see I think this is already becoming a pretty good thing, but I think you'll see it continue to grow is the rise of multi-generational homes. What I mean by that is you're going to see maybe people don't buy those smaller homes. They buy a little bit bigger home, but now we've got not one, but two families. So you might have, parents living in part of the house, kids living in another part of the house. I'm saying elderly parents, or you might just have two couples that go together and, we have it upstairs, downstairs, and we are able to combine money, and that is going to make the home more affordable. So people just kind of moving in together, but we are all chipping in, paying this mortgage. So I think that is I think this has been a thing. I think you started seeing it a lot 24.
Yes.
But I think that the growth of that in 25 will definitely be a thing that will be a common practice.
I think I read this report the other day. Let me say this first. I read this report the other day, and I don't know. I'm not prepared to say this number, but it was a very high number, okay, of homeowners in the United States right now that they have what I'm going to call the home built in the early 90s, late 80s, the big, nice home. Okay. There's so many of those because of the boom of real estate during those times. There's so many of those homes that are out there that they are just literally too big. They're too big.
Yeah.
We've already talked about why the increased demand for smaller homes, but they're just too big. And those people, whether it's a life change of a death or whatever, there's that segment of those homes. But if you put pen to paper, okay, and you say, should this home sell for in today's marketplace? It's going to be a real big price tag.
Right.
And it's literally because of the square footage of the property.
Right.
That's it. That's why it's there. Good for the owner of the house.
Absolutely.
But for your typical real estate buyer that is going to move into that neighborhood, it's too much.
It's too much for them.
It's too much. Okay. So you're going to see what you said, that multi-generational, multi-family living in not a multi-family dwelling.
Right.
It's not going to be a duplex.
Right.
It's going to be those houses that I'm just talking about. That, yes, that house is worth that.
Right.
But one group, however you want to put that in there,
right.
One group, it's too much to pay.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see that start happening. But these two trends working together, and we'll throw the third trend in there with it, you see that segment of people wanting to go to the smaller houses. Well, that's going to open up the bigger houses for this trend to happen.
Right. Yeah.
You're also going to see this trend of multi-generational living because people's wanting to go more out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They're wanting more rural living. But you know what? I want 8 acres, but I work like a dog. My kids is in every activity coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take care of this farm. I can't take care of this property and this land and this big house. I can't do it. That's going to push that multi-generational, multi-family even more. That's what I'm saying. These trends, and you usually know you're on the right track when trends overlap each other.
They tie together, yeah.
It makes those trends, they feed and they push, and that's why they become trends.
Right.
But we saw the rise in our own area of just exactly what you're talking about. And you hit this nail on the head just a minute ago. Our area, as far as the country being measured, is a very affordable place to come and live.
Absolutely.
I couldn't imagine these homes, like I'm saying, in the areas of the country that prices are just like, oh my goodness.
Right.
That's where you're even going to see this, I believe, be even more.
Yeah.
You're going to have 2 or 3 families if it's possible.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3 couples or 2 or 3 people.
Right.
That they're going to get these houses because, hey, I can afford $750 a month. You can afford $750 a month, and then somebody else can. And before you know it, we're up to $2,000. We can get a nice big house in the country.
Right.
For that.
Right.
So let's jump in and do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's jump in and do it. I think the rise of that will continue to be something that you have to watch for in a trend that continues from 2024 into 2025.
Yeah, no doubt.
What else you got to say about any of that? All right. Nothing else from you. That does it for us here today on the Elite Realty Group Podcast. Again, you'll be seeing these trends play out all throughout the real estate market in the United States of America. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest anywhere in East Tennessee or Tennessee for that matter, make sure you hit us up, message us on whatever platform you're hearing or watching this podcast on, and we will be glad to serve you. For all of us at Elite Realty Group, me and Dave especially, we appreciate you watching and listening today. Have a great day. We will see you next time on the Elite Realty Group Podcast.